Can you still see my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so first of all, the reason we have the opportunity to be at the Hudson Library is because Dennis Kroll set it up and had the contacts, and I really appreciate that because we cannot meet at the FIPS over the summer months, and meeting purely by Zoom was getting a little old, so this is great. Next meeting, there isn't a meeting the first week of July because of the holiday. On the Wednesday, the 17th, also a hybrid meeting at the Hudson Library, room 219. I'm going to be presenting for the first time on, in this case, it's creating your own photography website, because I've gone through that process over the past few months and learned a lot and thought it was worth sharing with others. So that's coming up. Nothing happening with N4C over the summer. And the next salon is August 7. The assignment is intentional camera movement, and the due date is July 17th. Jill, you want to say anything more about that?
No, I'm excited to see everyone's images, though.
It's a fun category.
Yeah.
Fun subject. Okay, that's it for announcements. So I'm going to change my sharing. Stop that share and share. That. Okay, can you see peer review and a woman?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I am not going to say who any of these images belong to. If the owner wants to speak up, if they're on the call or in the room, they can do so, but I'm not going to do that. As I said in a few emails, the format for discussion for each of these is to talk first about what you like about the image, and then secondly, what might improve the image. And we've got 17 images, and so that adds up to maybe 5 minutes or so per image, which should be fine, I think. So we're going to start with dancer. I'm not going to start talking. I have some thoughts about this one, but
I'll talk.
Okay.
All right. So I love the bright colors. Her outfit is really sharp and bright. I love that. And the headdress kind of goes against the background nicely because you've got blue and green in the background. I think that actually looks good. And then like her flowers are against the dark part. So good positioning.
Mhm.
Jill have to share her screen.
Let's see. Oh, it's not up there.
Oh, we can't see it? I can
well,
see it, your screen.
I need to project something else, I guess. That's a different thing. But that's easy. I think that's easy. Okay.
How come I can see it?
Well, the problem is that it's not projecting
Oh, for you
In
guys.
the room, I'm gonna
Okay.
get rid of the announcements, the PowerPoint. Um, There,
Did it work?
somehow I succeeded.
Okay, good.
I don't know what I did, but there we go. If you want to be heard on the recording, you're gonna have to be over here,
Oh,
I'm afraid. So I had similar thoughts about this image. It's lovely, nice expression on the woman's face. Caught her in what's the word? A dancerly pose. It's very nice. Background's a little busy, I suppose, but mostly I think it's great. Anyone else?
Can you hear me?
Hi,
Yes.
Terry.
Okay.
Yes.
I really like the expression on her face. You can tell she's really having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, all the other things that Jill said and you said, I agree with that.
Okay.
And, you know, sometimes you can't have any control over a background
Right.
like you see there.
Yep.
Maybe if it was possible to move around somewhat to get rid of those distractions, but sometimes you just have to settle for that.
Yep. And I don't think the background's a big deal in this case. It's
Mhm.
in part because the image of the dancer is so strong. I'm not distracted so much by the background. So, any other thoughts? Okay, I'm going to move on. Calf in the meadow. I'll talk. So there's some concern that, well, first of all, no, what I like. I like the meadow. I like the calf looking at us. I like that it's surrounded by flowers. I might crop this a little differently and remove a lot of the top and a lot of the foreground and make it more horizontal or square, perhaps. And the blacks are a bit too black.
I could see it better on my computer at home. I like the image of the calf and she's looking right at us.
Mm-hmm.
And the meadow and the flowers, it's really strong. I agree that if some of the black from the top could be cropped out and touch at the bottom, that wouldn't be so distracting or overpowering,
Mm-hmm.
and the calf would be stronger.
Yep. Anyone else?
Well, if it were my image, I would clone out those flowers that are close to his head.
Let me get it back up here. What did I do? Here we go. The flowers that are close to his head. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Do you
The
mean
ones
the
in front?
covering him or the ones behind him?
the ones in front of him,
Okay.
Okay.
real close to his nose, and
Mhm.
I might even go so far as to clone out the ones that are kind of sticking above the rest of the fray.
Okay.
I like the subject. I think he's really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Cute is good. Okay, moving on. This is Aspen.
Almost.
We have another person in the room. So,
All right.
Hello.
Well, I think the the detail in the dog is just perfect.
mhm,
I see that little tuft of hair above his nose,
yep.
and with him facing to one direction, I like that pose.
Mhm,
Now, if this were my pet, I would try to find a better setting for him.
mhm.
But the capture of the pet of that dog is just adorable. You see a little catch light in his eyes, and
Yeah, I really like the lighting.
Mhm.
I also like that they got down on the ground and took it straight on rather than down.
Good
And
point.
got in close to capture the dog and get that detail and show how cute he was.
Mhm.
yeah, and you should always try to when you're photographing people or animals, you want to get down to their level. You know, if they're little kids, you don't want to, what you brought up, Mary, was really important.
Yeah, I want to play with this dog. That's a good sign in terms of um, it being a good picture. Um, the lights in the background are slightly distracting, so you could erase those, I suppose, but it's not crucial. Great picture.
I like the
There's-
color, the colors and it's nice and clear. I, it feels like the balance is a little bit, like if you cropped off a little bit of the left side, that it would have us feel more balanced in
Mhm.
some way. That's just,
Sure.
I would also clone out that white blob on the right hand. I don't know what that is. It looks like a wrapper in the grass. It'd be pretty easy to cover that up, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice it the first 2 times through. I just noticed it now.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to silo.
I love this photo. It's very interesting and I like the colors.
I like how the vines with the leaves kind of lead you into the other half, and then that's kind of a cool, a little bit. It isn't really simple, but it's simple compared to the leaves of the vines. So it's kind of a nice balance in there. But I love the colors.
I like the colors a lot too, and I like those textures on the side that kind of are foil to the more organic parts of it. It's quite an interesting photo for that. It's like,
Even those bottom vines are kind of leaning up to the right. I love it. Really is nice.
Well, tell me, what is the subject of this photo?
That's what the judge asked when
Yeah.
I presented that. This is mine.
Oh,
Um, the judge said it was kind of two different pictures. It's a picture of the silo and it's a picture of the barn or whatever that is, and that therefore he did not like it.
I think if you didn't have that barn there, the silo wouldn't make much sense. It
Right.
seems like they go together. They complement one another and it helps you place what it is in relation to where it is. And I think it goes together.
I agree.
I wonder.
Time to resubmit it to a different judge.
I wonder if you cropped just a touch off of the right-hand side, what that would do to that balance. You know, the fact that he's saying that there's two pictures there.
Mhm.
Just a thought, I don't know if that would do anything, do that, but worth looking at.
Sure.
I kind of wonder too, if you throw back from it a little bit, it had more in the context to it. I took a class from Lane Kennedy, and he had us take pictures close, medium, and far, so we had like those contexts. I wonder if that would help somebody,
Mhm.
but it is, I like the colors and everything, so.
Yeah, under my suggestion column, I put another shot entirely would be that silo against like a blue sky. Might look really cool.
Mhm.
I don't know what your weather was like that day, but you could fake it too.
Is the silo actually green like that?
Never thought of the silo as green.
So is it just the lighting reflecting the grass?
Don't know. Good question. Maybe I could play with the,
It's quite nice. I didn't mean to.
I like it.
yeah, but I'll play with that bit. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to move on to Painted Shores.
No, this looks like it would fit in with our assignment
Yes.
in August.
Yep.
Intentional camera movement.
Mhm.
And it is interesting.
I think it has kind of an etheric feel that it could have been painted.
Mhm.
Nice colors, and I like it.
Well, and maybe adding a little contrast to that would make it just pop out.
Yeah, I like it also, and like the composition, and was thinking similarly, Terry, that either more vibrance to the colors or more contrast or both would grab you, but you know, it's a creative choice. If you like it this way, then keep it this way.
You know, I'm looking at this and I'm wondering how that photograph was taken. You know, the lower third looks like a reflection of some of the upper, and you know, the it looks like a wave going across the just above that.
Yep.
And maybe that line could be a little lower, so it would be where it's cut. So it would right be at the rule of, you know, the line of thirds, and maybe if there's any way to get the top of those pines. You know, and maybe they weren't in that photo, so.
So the foreground is maybe not a strength.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if it is intentional movement, I'm wondering because the green of the trees looks like it's you're paddling by in a canoe, and the trunks of the trees are not really broken up to that level. So I'm super interested to hear how that was created.
Mhm. Okay. Lounging Lioness is the next one.
Well, I think that's a pretty nice capture of the lion's head. I love the detail on the whiskers, and I think one thing I would do is I would brighten up the eyes,
Mhm.
add a little uh, exposure to that, and it would make
Mhm.
the eyes really pop out. And I wonder if this was taken at a zoo.
That was my guess. The focus is good. Exposure is good.
I don't think the background adds to the image, but it's a beautiful image and very sharp. And
Mhm.
so I don't know what you could do to the background, but I think it would look better if it was different, maybe more contrast I'm not sure, but
Yep.
I don't think it's complementing the image.
I agree. I think that background, if it were darkened down, in the eyes, I agree with that too.
Yeah, yeah.
The background could be pushed out of focus
Yep.
as well. But-
looking down to
Yeah.
but how low can you get in front of the lamp? I like the picture.
Terry, I really liked your idea about brightening the eyes. I think that would
Yeah,
make a
Yeah.
make a big difference.
because she does have a really good expression.
Yeah.
It could mean many things.
Yeah, she's saying I'm think I see a meal out there.
Those eyes could be, brightened up, they'd be really cool.
Oh, yeah. It's probably a lot going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't see anything.
Yeah. It's this picture here. It's not, I think it's,
Moving on. Eagle flag autumn.
I'll talk because this is my image. It's a work in progress. I want to do some kind of eagle flag thing.
Mhm.
The autumn was already there, so I threw the eagle in. I don't know if I should make the eagle smaller, recompose, so I'm open to suggestions. And I know that I have to get rid of that line around his head, which I can see really clearly now.
Right, right. I was going to comment about that. One thing, if you could, make a different composition with
Yeah,
some of the same elements. The background is distracting, and just make the flag huge with this is what I would consider doing. Make the flag huge and have the eagle partially in front of the flag.
okay. I can try that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think it would look more in balance that way. And also the eagle's eyes are kind of one's kind of, you can see part of it in the light, but the rest is
Mhm.
dark. So you're not really seeing his face as much
Okay.
as if he was facing, as if maybe you had a profile or you had the light on his eyes
All
more.
right.
different angle on it. Because his face looks kind of like it's in the shade or
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I was trying to match the shadows of I have a lot of shots of this eagle, but
Mhm.
I will try. That's a good idea to try a different angle too.
Or
Thank
less
you.
contrast on the eagle's face
Mhm.
would help.
I don't think the blue sky does do any good there. I'd almost put a forest background or something on it, or a mountain or something if you don't. That
Mhm.
would help that line on the edge of the eagles.
I didn't quite catch that.
Mhm.
She was suggesting that the blue sky doesn't help, that putting the eagle and the flag in front of a mountain or a forest would work better.
Obvious lines. So they
Yeah, yeah.
clear.
Thank you, everyone.
Mhm. Thanks for sharing it with us.
I'd get rid of the outlet, I would get that outlet.
I had the same thought.
Yeah, it's distracting, that'd be easy to get rid of.
Yeah. So if
I
you
love
didn't, the message was get rid of the electrical outlet on the lower left side.
Well, that's a beautiful bouquet, but this is another case of what is the subject here? The the mirror reflecting in detail something else in the room really distracts for me. I would, if that
Could you
was
speak
my
up,
home.
Terry, or get closer to your mic?
Okay. Okay, well,
You
I
go.
said, okay,
That's better.
this is another case of there's two subjects here with the reflection, the mirror reflecting all that detail in the room. I just wouldn't include that. I would move that beautiful bouquet somewhere where it's not, you don't have those distracting elements in the background or, next to it. Beautiful bouquet though.
Mhm.
What about the window next to that bouquet? I was thinking put
Well,
the
I'm
curtain
assuming it's
over
a
it.
mirror. I'm assuming it's a mirror. It's not a window.
To the right of the bouquet.
Oh, in terms of the light source?
Yeah, it's a little confusing because you got that beautiful kind of orangey pink light, and then you've got the brighter light from the window coming. But I bet if you did cover the window, the chair isn't gonna, that area might be too dark.
I found this one really intriguing. I know what you mean, Terry, but I'm the one who took the silo picture, so um, uh, I like the two images. There's a round mirror reflected by the big mirror that kind of picks up the round tabletop. And I don't know, I think it's intriguing to me. I would add some more intensity to the color, perhaps.
I like the bouquet is beautiful. I would like to see more contrast and color to that bouquet and the focus to be the bouquet because it's so beautiful.
I don't know.
Okay. Moving on. This is man versus machine.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's an incredible image.
I really like this image. It shows something that you wouldn't normally see. A person working, it'd be good if you saw his face, but the way he's posed, it really tells a lot of the story. Now, when I saw it on the website, I thought it could have used a little more contrast.
Mm,
But and maybe if it would be possible to just kind of brighten him up a little bit, he'd stand out a little better. But
Mhm.
I really, this is really a wonderful image.
Can somebody tell me what he's doing? Is that a conveyor belt?
Well, I think he's
Good.
climbing up this ramp. I know, well, I took
What are
this,
those pipes? You took it?
I took it 50 years ago in Boston.
Okay. So it's a shipyard?
Uh, It was a construction site. I don't remember beyond that. I printed this 50 years ago and just recently scanned it and pulled it into my computer. And I did lighten the subject a bit. I can do that some more, and I appreciate the thoughts about contrast.
And you might try to crop it a little bit, especially off the bottom,
Yep.
to put him in, in a position where he's not so centered.
Yeah,
Maybe take some off the right and off the bottom.
Yeah.
I
But
like that.
this
Or
is
off the
really
left,
this is a really fascinating image taken 50 years ago
Yep,
when you were 10 years old.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, thank you. Let's see.
Well, those warm against the cool colors of the barn really is striking.
Mhm.
I don't see a whole lot of detail in the barn though. I mean, you can see the windows okay, but I would expect to see more detail in the barn.
Mhm.
I was thinking that too. I really like the image, but then I realized it's supposed to be a silhouette, so um, more detail would be less of a silhouette.
Mhm.
You can tell what it is. I guess I'm kind of wondering why there's this big sag in the roof. Is that because it's coming together at 90 degree? There's two
Yeah,
volumes coming together at 90 degrees.
I think so. And maybe it's an old barn.
And there's a little bit of activity on the right-hand side. I can't tell, it looks like animals. I would have liked to, I mean, there was a hint of them there, but I would have liked to have seen more detail there.
Okay.
I would also like to see even though the cool and the warm looks neat together, I'd like to see the white balance adjusted so those horses are actually not blue, the white parts. If they're horses, I don't know if they're cows, whatever.
Mhm.
Or maybe take some of the blue off the white of the barn. It's a little,
Okay.
I don't know. I have an image similar to this, and that sky is so overpowering, it's hard to, or dark in the barn, so it actually is a silhouette. But then you're going to lose too much, I think.
Yeah. I
That
like
Yeah,
it.
sky,
that sky is pretty powerful. It kind
yeah.
of overwhelms the whole image.
Mhm.
As beautiful as it must have been to experience that.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Okay, let me make sure this is the next one. Yeah. Small Waterfall is the title.
Well, I really like the exposure, the length of the exposure. You can see the silkiness and you can see all the detail.
Mhm.
You know, it wasn't at such a slow shutter speed that there was no detail left there.
Mhm.
That was very well done. Um, but again, I've said this before tonight. There's two subjects there. I think if you cropped out the little waterfall on the right, um, I think that would be a more powerful image.
Hmm. I hadn't thought of that. That's a good point. Um, and I think keep at least part of this boulder because that's interesting.
Yeah.
And I like the foreground to give some perspective.
Oh yeah, and it's sharp from front to back.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of depth to that image.
Mhm.
That's really, really well done.
Yep.
Well, yeah, even the fallen trees are doing angles and leading your eye around. That's cool.
Hmm.
So if you cropped out that right waterfall off, then it would be much more vertical picture.
Hmm.
Kind of.
Yeah, I think it would be a stronger image.
It really does have some nice, it's nicely done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see it shot from a little lower vantage point. And then crop out the right waterfall with the rock in it. And I think that would make a stronger image.
I like the rocks. And I just noticed that there are two of them, one on each side of the right side, which would add some balance, I suppose.
Mhm.
To me, they're not distracting.
If you wanted to keep it horizontal, I would crop some of that foreground out. So it stays longer,
Mhm.
longer, like that, still get the rocks in.
Yep.
Square.
Yeah, great image. I want to know where it is.
Yeah, me too.
This is called Pink Palace.
I
I
think
think this
it's
is one of
beautiful.
I think this is one of the best images tonight. You know, if I were a judge and this was a salon, I would give this a 10. I love all that
do.
architectural detail and it's very well done.
I love the composition.
Yeah, they did a really good job with including like a lot of elements that could be busy, but the way that it flows, it's not.
And you know, the photographer was standing in just the right place. There's that urn kind of on the top of that greenish structure that didn't get cut off. You know, it could have been at an angle where it might have been. But I do love the way the lines of in the architecture just move you around the image. There's really a lot to look at here. And they all belong together.
The judge gave it a 6 or a 7 because he wanted to. This is mine, and I love it. So this is an example of wanting a second opinion after having an image that was not accepted.
When did that happen, Steve?
Oh,
At our club?
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, Steve, I remember when that was judged and I thought that was dumb. I love this image. I think it's beautiful in every way.
I think you should submit it again.
I agree. Put it in again.
Like I said, if I was the judge and this was a salon, that would get a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way you kind of get lost in the details, but there's still a a movement to it and a composition to it that it's
Yeah.
um,
Where was this taken?
somewhere in Europe.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. My wife and I were on one of those river cruises, and we stopped at this palace.
It's really neat.
Peach. Might have said pink, but I meant peach.
Oh,
You know, I like the image, but the white, I think would have been nice if it would have been toned down just a bit, because it really grabs your attention away from some of the other things. And like Terry said, that centering that urn where he centered it with the green underneath, that's beautiful. I really like that. It created some balance with the bottom part of the picture. But I think the whites kind of overpower it.
Mm. I
That's a good
didn't feel
thought.
that way. I thought those whites kind of made that pinkish stuff in front of it show off.
Yeah, definitely, it definitely does, but I think that still would have helped. Not changing, you know, the saturation of the pinks or anything, but just toning the white down just a bit, so that underneath the urn and stuff that might have popped a little bit more, that little pink with the little roll there. But yeah, it's a nice, you just want to look at that image. It makes you want to look at multiple parts of the image.
mhm.
So I'll play with the whites just because I'm curious and because you can do that.
Steve, I'm amazed at how the architect planned that out.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. Just to imagine how he imagined all of that to come together like that. I don't know how they do that.
Yeah. Okay. Two more images. Let me make sure about that.
There's actually a couple
Oh.
more that aren't here.
Oh, let me do this.
Yeah, that one.
There, I'm sorry.
All right.
So here we go. I'm going to go back up to the top. Yes, I added some and I sent out an update and I didn't update it myself. Okay. This image
Hmm.
is, I'm sorry, it is Pillsbury A Mill.
Well, I love the city lights. They just, you know, when it gets dark, an ugly city of concrete and glass turns into something magical, or a feeling of magic to me. And apparently this was a pretty long exposure where the river was smoothed out. I'm not sure what that dark line across, you know, a third of the way down, what that is.
Third of the way up.
Yeah, a third of the way up from the bottom.
Mhm.
There might have been like a dam or something there.
Mhm.
There's a wall between one part of the river.
Mhm.
A box or something comes out.
Yep.
I didn't
love-
And
catch that.
I like the star shapes in those lights just above the
Mhm.
bridge, the top of the
Yeah.
bridge. That's really great.
I was having a hard time to try to understand when you see something at night, how much of it should be present and how much of it should be just not shouldn't be present in your mind. And so I was struggling with highlighting more or less these different parts. And when you bring up the lights too much, on the Pillsbury sign, just wears out, and it's very distracting. And there's a balance that I just couldn't find it at that point in time.
Well, white balance is kind of tricky under these
Somebody-
circumstances because there's different colors of light.
The what?
The different
white
colors of
balance.
light.
Yeah. But I don't object to that at all. I really like this image. I wonder if it could have been possible to photograph that without the overhanging trees, kind of muddying up the background of the sky.
Hear you very well.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's a wonderful image. The only thing I would have done is crop down and crop up a bit and focus on the wonderful lights and reflections. And I just realized it's a really shitty picture right here.
It's hard to see.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to recall what it looked like when I looked at it.
Yeah, so I just,
they
for,
do look a little bit different on the this whiteboard.
they look a lot
Yeah.
different.
They have like a film over or
Muddy,
something.
like a muddiness or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, but that's what I just kept remembering now.
The talk in the room here is that I'm standing off to the side of the room and can just barely see the screen, so I'm looking at my computer screen, and I just noticed that somehow it's really poorly projecting. It's really contrasty and red. So, anyway,
Anyway, when was the building? Before that building, is that the Pillsbury right there to the left? What is that building?
Pillsbury,
That's, what is it, River Place or River Center? The one that's square right in the
Yeah, kind
middle?
of square in the middle.
That's
yeah.
Ada right
Oh,
there.
right there. It's just, I like that. You know, I
Mhm.
even zoom in on that.
Yeah, it's a pretty building. It's all artists. So.
okay, let's see what else I missed.
Right before architectural details, Main
There we
Street
go. Yep.
or Main, yeah.
Well, this makes a fairly decent travel image. You get a feeling of being there. And there's some hints about where this location is.
The two palm trees help kind of frame it and give it some balance.
You know, the guys in the foreground are looking back at that girl with the bikini top.
I was gonna say it's a cool juxtaposition of tourists and locals.
Yeah.
Everything's painted leaning this way and that.
Yeah.
I like the colors in it, and I think that those here on the screen, it looks a little different than the last time I saw it on my computer. But I think there's a whole band of people and activity that happens in the middle that maybe it should be brought up a notch
Mm-hmm.
and lightened up a bit.
Well, there's a sign on the right edge, kind of midway, and that print you can read it, and it it kind of draws your eyes away. Now there's signage on the building on the left, but it's not in such an angle where you can read it and be distracted by that. That would be one thing I would get rid of, is that sign on the right.
The
Mm-hmm.
one up on above.
The yellow beans, or
Yeah.
is that what it says?
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
Steve has got his hand.
Okay.
Beans.
Yep. I might get rid of the two guys on the left and crop it in a line there, perhaps, and let him be looking at the girl in the bikini.
Does anyone think it looks a little crooked? Like I get focused in on that power pole in the center and it seems like it's leaning to the, that's,
Yeah.
I want to go and put it upright.
Straighten it out.
Straighten it out.
Yeah, I think it's tilting down to the right just a touch.
Good,
Yeah.
good point.
Well, and you can see it was pretty darn windy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Maybe that's why the pole is kind of tilted.
I don't know, maybe a little lower perspective would have helped some. So you would have had the street, a little more of the street in leading you in, and perhaps more of the trees into it. But yeah, it gives you a sense of place.
Well, I get a feeling, you know, like if I were standing in that scene, that, you know, it's not, I don't think you need to get lower.
Hmm.
Okay, good thoughts. Moving on to sunlit autumn field.
Hmm.
Well, I kind of like the God rays in this. I would even make those brighter. Add some contrast there. I
What
like the
brighter?
fact that, well, the lines emanating from the sun.
Okay, sure.
I call those God rays.
Okay,
Maybe I'm the only one.
that's a good name.
But I would add some contrast there, make them really sparkle. And I do like the colors of the foreground trees. Well, in the background trees too, but I like the way the tops of those trees in the foreground group of trees. That's really special.
it's very sharp.
Colors are really something. I wonder if the screen is a little bit
Screens off.
different, but I wonder if the shadows on, in those trees, it would help to bring that out a bit. It's pretty contrasting right now, and the colors are really, they just are, they relate well to one another.
Yeah, when you see the actual picture, there is some good detail in the shadows in contrast to the screen in the room here. I like the foreground, I don't know if that's wheat or what it is, but maybe a little less of it.
Soybeans?
Okay. I'm a city boy. What do I know?
I
What did we say it was? I thought it was corn.
Oh, okay.
I didn't zoom in on it. I'm trying to zoom now, but it's not working on the Zoom. But soybeans, huh? I don't know.
Well, soybeans look like that too,
Yeah.
when, you know, they're only about this
You're right.
18 inches high, you know. They're ready to harvest anyway.
Yeah, they are. Bring the comment behind it right now.
Yeah. And the birds will be behind it.
Yeah.
When I was up at Crex Meadows a couple of years ago, the guy, I went to visit the people at the center, and the guy said, well, I was talking about something, said, well, they were just finished combining at this field down the road. It's a couple of miles. They will all be over there today. And they're sure enough.
All the cranes.
All those cranes were, you know,
Mhm.
kind of picking up the leftovers, I think.
I think it's a great image overall. So.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful image. It's why I love the Midwest so much.
I agree. That green too is just in fall. It's so vibrant.
Those clouds.
Yeah.
power plant.
Oh my goodness.
Just take my word for it, that's your picture. I don't know that there's anything to do about that.
I'm sorry, I
like
missed that.
We're whining in the room about how poor the
Oh,
quality is on the screen, and
What does it look like on your computer screen?
looks
it
great.
looks great. Orange and purple is one of my favorite combos, and it really is beautiful there.
Well, and the square composition
We're all
fits
gonna
the
huddle
subject
around the
really well.
screen here.
It looks very much different on computer than it looks on the whiteboard.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That's really neat.
So I think it's really powerful. On the bottom, it looks like there was a chain link fence that you tried to
I tried.
get rid of, and I think if you just,
Yeah.
you could just crop
Chop
up
it
from
more.
there. And,
The judge said, get rid of those trees. And I kind of struggle with that. Business of context, you know, sometimes if you
I
don't
like
have
that.
any context, then, you know,
Where are you?
yeah.
So I even wondered about, you know, there are 4 stacks there. And in the daylight, they would be really apparent. I've even wondered about cropping down,
Yeah, you could do that.
and I don't know, and get more focus on the brightness.
I wouldn't cut those off.
There you go. That's why we have.
And I think the tree on the right side is fine. Yeah, I would crop in off the bottom. But the square format pretty well fits the subject, and those stacks are upright. They're level.
Mhm.
A lot of detail. Love the highlights by using a small aperture or a large aperture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes me want to see it in daylight too. It's like, it'd be neat if you would have had the same shot in daylight. I wonder what it would have been like, you know. Whole
Well,
different thing.
again, when you're looking at it in a night shot, it's got a lot of, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
beautiful.
certainly got a lot of dark in it. And I kind of wonder if that's a little bit too much. The judge said on this other one I was taking close to the same time, he said, if only it would have been taken just a little bit earlier, you know, when the sky was still bluish.
Mm-hmm.
And
During
I'm,
the blue hour.
yeah.
Maybe.
I wouldn't change anything.
Is it?
Wouldn't change anything. I like it.
No,
I think it's great.
I like all things at night,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially lots of lights.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, the last image is sun bittern.
That's a beautiful
It
image.
is.
I
I love the eyes. They're
Oh,
really-
yeah.
They're so clear.
when I saw it on my computer, I thought, you know, if you could darken down the back, those white patches some, and brighten up the bird a little bit, or bring it a
Yep.
little bit, it would really it would reinforce how great the bird is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, the colors in the bird are really quite clear. and
Focus is great.
Focus is great.
Focus is really good.
Catch light in the eye. Very
Mhm.
wonderful detail in the bird. I don't know if you can take that image into Lightroom and select the background and try to lose some of the definition in the background.
Mhm.
And you might, I wouldn't want to make it darker, because it really, the brightness back there really makes the bird stand out. Really brings it forward.
Mhm. That's true.
But I wonder, where was this bird taken? Is that a bird that's normally seen in Minnesota?
I looked it up
Huh.
and oh, it's still here. My search is still here. It's native to tropical habitats.
Oh, okay.
It
It's
looks like
18, it's
was
18
native.
inches long. I'd like to, the only thing I put with this, I know it's a picture of the bird. I'd like to see something for scale because 18 inches seems kind of big for a bird. Maybe it's not that big.
Well, yeah.
It's big.
Mhm.
It's got a water, I don't know if it's a bird bath or just a, whatever that is, left-hand side. The judge would dislike the hand of man kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily enter this as a nature image, but
Right.
I think it's a great image.
it is beautiful.
I wonder if the whites were just toned down a little bit in the back, if it would, what do you think that would do?
We seem to have opposing opinions here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I just get distracted by the white in the back. It's so, I mean,
Yeah, it is distracting, but I think I wouldn't want to tone down the background because you know, I wouldn't want to reduce the exposure in the background because it serves the purpose of making that bird really stand out now.
Okay.
but if you brighten the bird,
Mhm.
What if it warmed it up? What if you warmed it up a little bit? No,
Sure.
I don't know. More gold. I mean, the bird has, it almost looks like there's some sun in it, you know, there's orange in the bottom half, but there legs and stuff maybe.
You know, the bird itself, really nice catch light and
Yeah.
wonderful detail throughout.
This bird.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, good discussion. So that was the last image. I just wanted to ask people's thoughts. So there are 9 people online, 3 people here in the room. Does that suggest that this kind of peer review is
I
not
think this
something
was
that
a
should
great
be
idea. I thought this was a great idea. It got members talking to each other and sharing their opinions, and I think that's important. You know, if you know, 12 people participating out of a group of how many people? I don't know. I still think it's very worthwhile, Steve. I'm glad you did this.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. And it's oftentimes you put a picture out there for the judge and you don't agree with what the judge says. So it's really nice to get other opinions and find out what other people think.
And I was particularly hoping that someone who tended not to enter into contests would enter into this, and that did happen. So I was pleased about that. To be clear, this was not my idea. This was Pete Rose's idea from, I think it was the Minnetonka Photography Club. They do this regularly. So yeah, I'll try this again.
Yeah, I really think you should.
And I've got it recorded, so I'll post it to the Facebook page and we'll see what kind of interest there is in that.
yeah.
Well, I was going to try to make it out to Hudson today, and it just didn't happen. But everybody have a good night.
Yeah,
You too, Terry.
Leave.
I'm gonna stop the sharing and stop the Zoom. I'm gonna stick around and see if I can figure out how to make the projector here work a little bit, but I believe we're done.
Okay,
Well,
thank
thank
you.
you, Steve.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks.